Hello everybody, welcome to today's video and a very warm welcome to you all out there. Welcome to the Signal Box. So in today's episode of the Signal Box, we're going to see the 15 Guinea special in action on my railway, together with angry Ollie in all his glory, running around my railway shouting at everybody, no doubt. And I've done some little bit of custom weathering and finishing on Oliver Cromwell. So you'll see that in a mo, and we will do the reveal and the running session with the 15 Guinea special as mentioned in a little bit. But what I wanted to do is firstly thank you for watching today. If you like what you see and you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the good old like and subscribe buttons. Okay, so first up, this came in the post this morning, hence I'm doing a little bit of a feature on it. Hornby. So we know it's a Hornby product because of the box and the packaging, and this is the packaging that I mainly remember and grew up with in my youth, on my regular trips down to the engine shed model railway shop in Leytonstone High Road in East London. Back in the mid 1980s, this was the Hornby Margate packaging and brand colouring. So this is the box stuff that I remember most from Hornby. So yeah, very familiar packaging. The box itself is a little bit worn. Shame about the little rip there, but made in Margate. This is a Margate made model, which is why it's worth featuring, because well, all my locos that I get generally are worth featuring, but this one is something I haven't got. And it being a Margate made model as well makes it even more nicer. So let's see what's in the box. So I'll take that out quite simply without tearing these flaps off, and just take it out of here. Oh, already something's flying out of here. We'll take that out in a minute. And what have we got? Well, there's a fireman there that flops onto the table. And what else have we got? Oh, I can see something in here of value. Vacuum pipes, that's nice. Well, that's nice that they're intact. Normally there's a driver as well with this, but we won't worry about that too much. What we're concerned with, what's in here, we'll put that to one side. Now, what is in the bubble wrap? Voila! I haven't got one of these. It's a pannier tank, but these are the really unusual. They actually were called matchboxes by the train spotters of the day, but their profile is very unique because they've got what's called an open cab. I'll just remove my camera from the stand out of the way, come down at eye level, and you can see it's a lovely little thing, isn't it? A very unique looking pannier tank, because it's got an open cab. And because it's got an open cab, you can see from the model there they've depicted or moulded or modelled a tarpaulin there at the top of the cab roof. If we look there, coming a bit closer, that's quite nice. A little bit of detail there on the back head there with the regulator, all the pipe works and everything. And obviously being a Western engine, the driver will actually drive from the right hand side. All Western engines normally are right hand driven and the fireman will be on the left, whereas on most locos it's the opposite way around. So quite a nice looking thing. It's in this factory glossy black finish, which is why I picked this particular loco on a very well-known auction site. The other one that I'm after getting is exactly the same engine but a different number and in Great Western green, but this is like a nice glossy black with the Great Western lettering down the side, and that's all intact. There's no scratches, that's not scuffed off. The separate number 2747 is on both sides. Both whistles, because Western engine has always had a two-tone whistle, believe it or not, which is very unique. So there's the whistles at the top there. There isn't much detail to look at on the actual top of the loco there. As you can see, it's got the water filler caps, the vents just near the safety dome, and the handrails are on there, which is nice. That's always a good sign. On both sides the handrails are there. Going across the smoke box, the handrail is present. Quite a nice looking thing actually. And one of the things that makes this really iconic, this loco, is the rather tall chimney compared to the rest of the loco. Gives it a nice character, I think. The I think the standard class, well, there's no standard class as such on pannier tanks, but for example, the 57XX pannier, which I've got, the chimney on it is much shorter than this one. This one's quite tall. So looking at this model overall, again, it's a Margate made model from Hornby. This was made in about the mid 1980s. These came out right up until about 1995, I think. There's some rivet detail on the actual pannier tanks on the side of the boiler there, which is quite nice. A few little marks on there, which is basically from the packaging. As you can see, it wipes off with my hand. Nothing to worry about there. Looking underneath, looks to be in good condition. Careful inside. Straight away, I can see that the wheels look pretty decent. The traction tyres, those rubber tyres on there, seem to have quite a newness to them. There's not much wear to them. They're on there, that's the thing. I can't see any lubrication, although I'll try and zoom in with my camera. Yeah, it looks to be a bit dry, that does. So the whole thing will need to be just simply stripped down slightly and lubed and given a clean up, and we should have some life in it, hopefully. The seller on said well-known auction site said that it was in good condition and it ran well in both directions, and the only thing wrong with it was the front coupling was missing, which so far is completely true of description. These are screw couplings, as in the fact that you screw them into the bodywork there, not screw link full size mainline things, but hence the screw there. And the coupling missing is a very simple fix because they just clip into a recess underneath there, I believe, and we can source that problem and get it rectified. They're quite simple to fix. If you look at the back coupling there, that might be the issue. Why? Yeah, there's a housing there, but what about on the front? Let's have a look just quickly to see where that housing is, and surprise, surprise, I think it's missing. Let's have a little look. Yeah, it's broken off there, I see. Yeah. Okay. Well, I've actually got some screw couplings, some actual replacements of the whole assembly with the coupling, so it's not necessarily a problem. And the main thing is, looking at that so far, I can't see any discrepancies apart from the missing coupling in the front. That's not a problem. The coupling bar, as you can see there, that traditional Hornby D style coupling, this piece of coupling bar there, the actual whole assembly, apart from that little bit missing underneath, this is physically intact, because if we had a split going through there, we might have a problem of it. Even though you glue it, it's not very nice. So this is okay. It will actually couple up to whatever you want to couple it up to for shunting purposes, or if you want to run it bunker first, you can couple anything up to it. That's all. That's a good thing anyway. So we're in there. In terms of detail or overall appearance, it's quite a nice looking thing, and this unusual glossy black finish is quite nice. It's glossy, but it's not overly glossy. It's not sort of put your shades on. It's that bright. It's just a nice finish, and I think that looks quite nice. The front of the loco, as you can see there, on the smoke box door, you've got what's called the dart, which is the big hinge screw that you wind around a thread inside the smoke box, so you can actually release and open the smoke box door towards you to shovel out all the ash and all the crap in there. You can, I've seen there's a super detail pack, you can actually get a model of scalpel and completely remove that dart. My finger is making the camera blur, I'm sorry about that. Let's get a better pointy device. There we go. So this smoke box dart, this piece of moulded plastic there with the handle and hinge mechanism. No, my phone won't zoom in. That's better. Right, this piece of moulded plastic here, the dart in the middle, you can actually get a modelling knife and completely cut that off and neaten it up, and then get a separately fitted white metal or brass casting to replace that, which you can do. Some people have done it and it looks quite nice. I'm not going to bother, you know, it's just a feature of the model. And what I like about this model, the reason I got it, was because it's a vintage Margate made Hornby product, and I kind of like things as they are, to be honest with you. You can be really finicky and get a replacement dart for the front of the smoke box there, or you can actually get some separately fitted lamp iron, my finger is so fat, sorry, You can get separately fitted lamp iron brackets that go across the rear of the bunker there. You can get all those bits to fit on there separately if you wanted to do that. But I'm not going to do that because I'm going to leave my sample as it is. There's nothing really I'm going to do to this apart from give it a good clean and a good lube. And what I might do, I've got some spare lamps from a super detailing pack from Hornby. I might put some headlamps on the front of the buffer beam there, or on top of the smoke box where they should be for the right head code. Our little driver friend, or sorry, our fireman friend, he's all on his Jack Jones, because where's his driver mate? I don't know where he's gone. Must be in the pub. So I think what we'll have to do is keep him aside for another day. But most definitely, I think we will give this a good clean, a little bit of a service, and we'll get it running on the layout in a bit. So stay tuned. We'll have this cleaned and running, and you'll also see 7013 Oliver Cromwell in all his angriness running round with the 15 Guinea special. So stay tuned, and I'll see you in a mo. Right, okay, as mentioned, it's time to get Angry Ollie, Oliver Cromwell, 7013, Britannia, hauling the 15 Guinea special on the railway today. So just going to take the regulator slightly up. And here she comes. It's only a short little rake of coaches you get with the set. You only get 3 coaches, and on my little railway it's just about enough. I could put a couple on more and get away with it, but just for the purposes of demonstration today, there she is. I can just hear him shouting at everybody going past. It's a very angry engine, like I said before in my last video. It's a beautiful engine in real life as well as model form, but he's well known as being angry. It's just his temperament, I suppose, but he's a lovely machine. I'll bring it to a little stop in a minute, and I can just give you a little walk round what I've done with the loco if you haven't seen it already. Let's come round here a second, shall we? Wandering round the railway today. Okay, I think I'll just get a shot of Ollie coming round here at low level. That's quite a nice shot. Okay, I've just brought Ollie to a stand briefly. I know he's got the ump because I've stopped him. But the things that I've done on this loco, I'll show you really quickly. I've just done a bit of enhancing work. On top there, from the smoke box end, just a little way up, I've put some Humbrol weathering powder. It's that Humbrol weathering soot effect. I've actually sealed it with some proper enamel varnish sealer. This time I've used the Railmatch brand enamel varnish. spray can, and it absolutely works a treat. Then what I did once it was dry, then this morning I went over the top of it with a little bit of coal dust. If you can see there, a little bit of coal dust along the top there. All I wanted to do is simulate soot, literally, because you know this thing's going at 75 plus miles an hour, and if the wind's blowing in the right direction, all the smoke's blowing over the top of the boiler and away, but it leaves a nice residue of soot along the top, and the rest of the engine's sort of clean, but it does pick up a lot of dirt on top when it's running on the main line. And in 1968, when the 15 Guinea Special was running with Oliver Cromwell, there was realistically a lot of soot on top of the boiler at the end of the day. So they never were clean machines from start to finish when they did their runs. They were looked after as top link engines, but as a engine cleaner, you'd be expected to get up there and clean all this at the end of the day. It wasn't a pleasant job. But anyway, that's the top of the weathering done on the top of the boiler of Ollie. I think it looks pretty good. Looking at the front of the loco, if we come down here with the camera, what I've done is stuck a couple of headlamps on the front, those being Express Class A, Express Passenger Train, it's a Class A. And then the vacuum pipes and the pipe work on the front, I've just dulled down because they were black. I gave them a little dash of sleeper grime, rail match sleeper grime on the vacuum pipes there to give them the appropriate, all the crap that's blown up on from the track and all the grime they accumulate. The buffers themselves, I've given a little tiny smidge of rail match matte black to simulate the grease marks when they've been buffered together, and I've done the same at the end with the tender. The rest of the locos, you can see the wheels and running gear I've left, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to touch anything else on this, but I think I'm really pleased with that effect on there, and it makes it look a little bit more characteristic rather than just a pristine model. I like to add a little bit of character, and Oliver Cromwell is definitely full of character. Moving up, if we go to the tender, I did put a little bit of real coal in the tender just to match up what was left in, what actually was moulded in there from the bit you get in there from Hornby. And as you can see, I've done it so that it's piled up at the back there, a little bit of coal dust and ash in there as well, which will be thrown up from all that coal coming out the hopper. So a little bit of coal. And for those of you out there who are saying, oh, those lumps of coal on the back of the tender, they're too big, miles too big. Well, how about this? It's come straight from the coal chute, which is over there, my coaling stage. Let's just say it's been coaled up, but then you put the larger lumps at the back and all the finer stuff is at the front, and then the fireman gets his hammer and breaks it all up. But just to put a few lumps in there, whether you like it or not, but I think it looks okay, so quite pleased with that effect. That looks all right. And I didn't want to fill the entire tender up as well, because it looks too much full, so I wanted to create it so it was just enough in there. What else did we do? Oh yeah, there's a footplate crew on there. I'll bring this round now so we can have a look at the footplate crew in here as well. Hang on, I'll just walk around here with the camera and I'll bring this round. I'm going to stop it on the level crossing, probably about the best place to view it, I think. If I can get it to stop, that'll do it. Whoa. It might be a bit of a hard camera shot, but I'll try and do the best I can with the camera today. We've got a fireman in there. I've also got a driver on his proper side over there. And as you can see, I've just about got the fireman in there. He's all painted up, the right colours. He's got his blues on. And the shovel is just about meeting with a fraction of a mil and a cat's whisker clearance from the tender. So that was a bit of a hard fit. Because you had to physically unscrew the link between the tender and the loco with this one. So when you put it back in the box, it's a bit of a pain, but I might see if I can try and cut a bit of polystyrene out the tray, so I haven't got to keep faffing around, and because it is a bit of a faffing around job to unscrew it all and then keep plugging it in and out. And when you keep taking that little pin and plug connector out, the 6-wire job, you know, the very fine scale little set of wires that go into a plug that correspond to a male and a female connection underneath the loco, for pickup purposes. But if you keep taking it in and out too much, what will happen is you'll end up damaging the wire. So I think what I'm going to do personally, it's much more easier to get a craft knife and just cut away a little section in the storage tray. That way, Ollie can be stored permanently connected up, which isn't a problem really. There is a driver on the other side. I'll see if I can try and open this vent with my finger. You might be able to, no, you can't really from there. Sorry, apologies for the finger. I'll see if I can do it that side. But anyway, it's a bit of an awkward shot, but unless I take it off and put it on the table. But there is a driver I've put on the other side. Do you know what? I'll stop this and I'll take it off. It's easier. Right, I've got it on my little table here so you can see just a little bit. But what I've had to do is actually to swap the Hornby seated driver to a Bachmann Scencraft standing footplate crew, because I tell you what, the seats they put in the fireman and driver's side, they're so fine scale. It's such a job to try and get a pair of tweezers and stick a crew in there properly. More so the driver, because the seating area is actually taken up with more controls on the front with the reversing link, and just it's a very tight fit. And even the Bachmann Scencraft seated driver figure would have quite a job to get through there, so you'd have to probably lop off the figure's legs at the knees, which isn't very nice, and then stick his torso somewhere in the seat if you could, and even then it's a tight fit. So what I've done, I've just got him standing up, as you can see. You might be able to see there, but it's a very tight fit. Okay, apologies for the skew with shot here, but I've just tried to articulate the loco so you can see just about. There you go, see him standing up there? It's a really tight fit. I kid you not. If you get one of these, they're lovely. But as you can see, the fireman's okay because he's freestanding, he's shoveling away. But the old driver is a very tight fit, and there is a little tiny seat there. But as I said, it's so tight. It's a job to squeeze it in there. So unfortunately, I've got our driver standing up today, but that's okay. I'm sure he'll sit down at some point in this shift. Okay, while I've got the loco on the table, I just thought I would use this angle and also the lighting to illustrate from this top shot the soot weathering I've put on top of the boiler. And I am very pleased with that. Definitely an enhancement. I haven't gone too silly with it because I didn't want it to go all the way over both sides of the boiler. I just wanted it on the top there. The natural direction of soot deposit that comes out of the chimney from the smoke and the blast of the exhaust would leave a little bit of residue definitely in that area like that, but not overly heavy. Just enough there. So yeah, there you go. Okay, let's get it back on the track. Okay, I think angry Ollie has gone away now. He was shouting rather loudly, wasn't he? It was very, very loud. Anyway, let's just come down to waist level, just below the baseboard, and I'll show you that little Great Western Railway open cab pannier tank. There it is. So what I've done, after I unboxed it and showed you guys earlier, what I did, I just took this apart. It was very simple to do, and I found that the wheels underneath actually were not too bad, but they did need a little bit of a clean. The pickups and wipers that power the collection system, they were spotless. In my opinion, as a railway modeller and as a man of knowledge, I would safely say that 99 to 100% this model has hardly ever, if not ever, been run. It's in very, very good condition. It's an excellent little runner. But before we get it running on the railway above, I'll show you some modifications that I've done. So first of all, if you remember that the front coupling was missing, well, what I've done simply is added in another one. I found a spares in the box there, and I added another one there. So that's done, taking care of that. Zoom out a little bit. And also I've added a footplate crew on the footplate. I've got the fireman on the left hand side, which is correct, and the driver is sitting on the right hand side, which is absolutely correct for a Western engine. And the way they came about, those figures, was obviously the fireman was included with the loco that I bought, but there was no driver. Well, the driver there that was supposed to be for the Britannia would not fit, so I basically chucked him on there and substituted another chappie for the Britannia job. So swings and roundabouts, eh? Also, what I've done on this engine is I've put some headlamps on the front. There's one there that is for a normal passenger, as opposed to the twin headlamps for express passenger. That's the stop-in passenger service. This is a normal passenger service train. And for some reason, a charming little feature of these pannier tanks, are all Western little tank engines. They always had a spare lamp, always put on the running board on the chassis, just below the water tank itself. So I've put that there. That's super glued in place. And then because the Hornby detail pack that I got as well additionally on eBay the other day, it came with obviously the driver and the fireman that I wanted, and the headlamps for the Britannia job. But I had some bits left over, i.e. the long-handled firing tools. So typically on a pannier tank, or on a Great Western pannier tank, you can't put them in the cab because there's nowhere to put them. Unlike a tender engine where you can put them in a rack behind the footplate, there's normally a slot that they slide behind down the side of the tender. On a tank engine, it's a different story, and prototypically what they used to do was this. So what I've done is just put them on the back there like that, which is exactly what they would have lived. There's special hooks and brackets there for them on the model, and also on the prototype full-size machine. So all pannier tanks, that's normally where the long-handled fire iron tools would have lived normally, because obviously you carry them about on the engine, because at the end of the day, when you take it onto the shed road for disposal, it's the fireman's jolly job of shoveling all that hot ash and cinders and clinker out of the of the firebox. Obviously, if the loco needed to be tended whilst on the move, I would imagine that they had to stop the loco somewhere, get off, get the firing iron tools, and then do it whilst on the move, I suppose. A very hard job. But if you imagine on a Western engine like this, taking those long handle tools and then trying to maneuver them down into the firebox there on the real thing, and then trying to swing them round without burning yourself or your mate on the other side, and then avoiding bridges, line side structures and signals without clouting them with the tools as well. Very, very hard job, and that's on a tender engine. So you imagine a little tank engine like this, very hard job. But that looks great, I think, sitting on the back there. I've given them a little dash of weathering powder, just a tad, little bit of rust, little bit of soot, and then sealed the whole thing with some fantastic rail match adhesive varnish spray. Plug. It is a great product, actually. Miles better than that Airfix crap, that Humbrol nasty stuff that ruined my Midland 4F. But that's another story for another day. Anyway, she's good. So there she is. There, she's all finished. And I think we'll take her upstairs onto the track and get her running. Okay, so I was a little bit hesitant when I first put a bid in for this on that well-known auction site that we well know and love. what type of motor was in this. Was it going to be really noisy, or was it going to be quite quiet? And as you can hear, it's very quiet. And here she comes with a little short rake of wagons behind. Nothing too strenuous for her today. I think that's fantastic. Look at that. Rumbles across the bridge there. And as we saw in the earlier part of the video today, she's got traction tyres and the centre wheels. I'm not a massive over fan of those things, but in this case it does help give extra haulage and pulling power. But she's a beauty. Look at this. What a lovely little thing. I have actually got a Great Western tow brake van. I've got two actually, but I just couldn't bother to get them out and dig around for them today, but I know roughly where they are. But for the purposes of this demonstration little freight, as you can see, she's more than capable of what you give her. I could give her a load more in terms of haulage and I know she'd pull it. Absolute cracker of a little engine. Very pleased with that. Look at that. So fair play to the chap who sold me this on that well-known auction site that we all know and love. He's very accurate actually, because it's a bit of a hit and miss sometimes, because you've got to really know what you're looking at, and from experience, what to look out for, and you know what to not to actually. I'll just stop that there a minute. Not to go for something that's a pile of crap or could be a potential disaster. It's happened many times before, as I've said. But very pleased with that little pannier tank over there. What a lovely little thing. Very pleased with that. Okay, so just to give you a little bit of a visual example, the difference between variations of pannier tank. Sweet as a nut. Absolutely sweet as a nut. Very happy with that. So just to give you a variation of two basic types of pannier or pannier tank engine, the Great Western pannier tank engines. Coming round now on track number 2 is a 57 XX class pannier tank, and this one obviously you can see a lot of differences. I'll bring it just up to the crossing, I think, on stopper on the crossing. Bosh. Now I'll just bring that in. Right, okay, so obviously the main difference is with these two examples of pannier tank, the two examples here, obviously the open cab suggests, as the name says on the tin, it's got an open cab, so there's no enclosed cab. So definitely a tarpaulin job for those poor crew on a wet and windy night in the middle of nowhere on a midnight or early hour freight working to somewhere, being stuck 12 hours on that thing in the pouring rain. Absolutely no fun at all. Rain going down the back of your collar into your boots, no fun. A very much a Victorian machine, and that's why I like this thing. It's got Victorian character because it's not too far off from the first early steam engines that derived from the sort of Stephenson family. People like Gooch and all those sort of well-known engineers that pioneered and progressed the steam locomotive. I definitely would say that it's got Victorian roots if you look at that, because the openness of the cab for a start. And then if you look across to its relative, the 57 XX, these were around sort of in the sort of mid-20s, 1920s that is. And as you can see, it's got a closed cab, so a little bit more secure environment for the crew. If it bucketed down with rain, at least they had a bit of a dry environment there. The bunker isn't that much difference in shape, slightly different, a bit more tapered if you like. The boiler along the way isn't much difference either. But if you look at the difference of the chimney profile there from that shot, You see how tall the chimney is on that open cab model, and then the little pannier chimney over there, which has more more of a shortness to it, obviously. But if you look at the overall profile, they're not that much difference. They've got the same sort of fittings here and there, slightly modified, but very, very lovely, handsome machines, the panniers, and very, very strong as well. They're the little engines that have the heart of a lion, if you like. It's very, very true. They are very well loved machines and quite popular as well with the crews at the time, both in days of steam and also with the heritage railways we've got now, where you see these things running up and down. And away it went. With his pasty on the footplate shelf as well. Because all Western men eat pasties, you know that, don't you? You ever get on a footplate of a Western engine, there's always a pasty on the shelf above the firebox door roll, keeping it warm. I couldn't resist it. I had to stick the other one on the back as a banker, which looks pretty good. There they come, fighting their way along the line. Right, I think we'll put it to bed, because I'm sure the crew want to go across the road to the pub. Right, fireman's got the unlucky job of clearing that out. Driver will go and book off and say, I'll see you across the road for a jar or two. Okay, what we'll do, we'll put angry Ollie to bed, I think. So we'll just move Ollie onto shed. Very cautiously across the bridge, into the tunnel, round and through into the station, working bi-directional of course, slowing down just for that curve over there. Just creeping up to that level crossing past the staff halt. Creeping across that level crossing, shouting at everybody no doubt on the way. Going under the coaling stage and down into the sidings. Beautiful. Right, and that is that. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the trains today, and I hope that you enjoyed what you see and what I got out there today for you. And I enjoyed making this video as much as you enjoy watching it, hopefully. And I will see you soon on the next video and another exciting episode of The Signal Box. Hopefully we should get the Acura scale buck jumpers, J67 tank engines, Great Eastern jobs. We should get them, I think, by March, so another couple of months to go, but it will be worth the wait for those videos. And I'm very excited to be able to have those and bring them to you when they come along. In the meantime, it's goodbye from us all here on the railway today, and we'll leave angry Ollie to simmer on shed, I think. And I'll see you soon in the next one. Take care, all the best, and thanks for watching. Goodbye now.